Straight out of the pages of history books and Doolittle's raid on Tokyo during World War II comes the only Marine B-25 Ghost Plane, if you will, thanks to the commemorative Air Force. "16 Marine B-25s took off from the aircraft carrier Hornet on April 18, 1942, in the historic Jimmy Doolittle raid.
On the way in to make the attack and have the B-25s take off, they were spotted by Japanese fishing boats with radios and reported to the Japanese Navy. So the airplanes were launched actually about 200 miles before they were originally scheduled to do that. And there was a fairly substantial storm going on, so that the wind coming over the ocean was about 35, 40 knots, which is about 50 miles an hour. And then the aircraft here turned into the wind, and it was doing about 30 knots over the water as well. So it was about a 65, 70 mile an hour wind going over the deck. And without that storm and without that wind coming over the deck, those airplanes may not have gotten off. With their heavy bomb loads and the fuel, they took on extra fuel to go that extra 200 miles. And then when all the aircraft dropped bombs on Japan and then they went on to China, but because they left early, they were short of fuel, and all 16 B-25s were lost as a result of their early departure. None of them were shot down over Japan, but all of them crashed or crash landed, or the crews bailed out and whatever over China. And 8 of the crew members were captured by the Japanese, 3 of them beheaded. One of the airplanes had a bad mod in Mather Air Force Base and didn't have enough fuel to make China, so they went to Russia where they were interned for the war.
Restoration of this Marine B-25 took 23 years.
It's pretty mind-boggling to look back at it and realize how much time we've spent on it. Usually it was a 3-day-a-week volunteer operation, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Sometimes it was even more, and many of us had jobs and couldn't make it certain days, but we put in our time, and the team did a phenomenal job of getting this aircraft flying again. She's a wonderful piece of machinery.
But just how do you get a World War II era aircraft in flying condition?
It takes a lot of work, a lot of research. Anybody that wants to do it right knows that there's all sorts of documentation for each one of these aircraft. Blueprints, manuals, you name it, the information's out there. And fortunately, there are people we can talk to that have backgrounds with the aircraft that'll teach us the little things that the books can't tell us, little nitnoid stuff. And we've got a couple of guys in Los Angeles whose profession is restoring aircraft, especially B-25s. They helped us out quite a bit.
As you can imagine, flying an aircraft like this is
totally different. Yeah, it's an airplane, it flies, but I also fly for a major airline as a captain, and I've been doing that for 32 years. This is it's like relearning to fly again to some degree, because we're going back in time 70 years, and today everything's automated. On that airplane, nothing is automated.
Well, my daddy flew in World War II in Italy and North Africa, and he was a bombardier and a navigator on the plane, and I just never seen one. I wanted to come out and see it.
I was in the red tail flight, and we flew every day. And our flight chief would tell you right up front, he said, that's the reason there's wings out there, they're made to fly. And so he said, we're gonna fly. And if you're not willing to work to keep them in the air, we're gonna ship you out. But anyway, it was good duty, awfully hard to keep them running, but good airplane.
Welcome to Rattlesnake Hollow, north of Mulberry, somewhere in the Ozark National Forest near White Rock Mountain. And here we have Rattlesnake Hollow Creek. Now this is just for starters. Down there is Rattlesnake Hollow Falls. Getting to Rattlesnake Falls involves quite a bit of a drive through the Ozark National Forest. 3 miles past Fern on Highway 215, turn left on County Road 75. It's paved for a while as you pass by Shores Lake on the right. After the pavement ends, continue another 4 miles to White Rock Mountain Road and turn left. Go 2.2 miles, then turn left onto Hurricane Creek Road. Go another 4.7 miles and park by an old Jeep road off to the left. I would not recommend driving down that rocky ravine road unless you have a tank, and I'm not exaggerating. Hike about a half mile down that crater road until you come to a big clearing on the right. From there, just bushwhack straight down through the woods. Now from the Jeep road, it's only about 1/8 of a mile or so bushwhack through the woods, which will actually take you over here to the top of Rattlesnake Falls. Now to get down to the bottom, you'll have to work your way down the bluff line and find a break, which will take you to the bottom of the falls eventually. Thanks to a good-hearted soul, the trail going down to the base of the falls is actually blazed in blue. And it'll take you down to the creek, and then all you do is kind of hike back upstream to the base of the falls. Once you do finally get down to the base of Rattlesnake Falls, you have this waiting for you. Someone took the liberty to makeshift a couple stone benches for your sitting and viewing pleasure. Interesting footnote regarding Rattlesnake Falls. Can you just imagine someone going over these falls in a kayak? Crazy, huh? Well, a fella by the name of Bill Fish Herring did just that back in 2000. And no, do not try it yourself. Oh, and by the way, don't let the name Rattlesnake Falls scare you off. We did not see any at all. But being that this part of the Ozarks is bear country, we did get a glimpse of a big old Arkansas black bear as we were driving back on the main dirt road. Rattlesnake Falls, well worth the effort. Maintaining its 1920s era charm, the small town of Leslie in the Ozarks offers an art center and museum, a community theater, restaurants, antique shops, and an old world-style brick oven bakery. And before that, this was the largest barrel producer in the world. The Williams Cooperage Company in 1910 was indeed the largest barrel manufacturer in the world, producing up to 5,000 barrels a day. The company had access to 110,000 acres of some of the finest hardwood timber in the country. A dinky train was used to haul the timber to the plant. Jobs were plentiful, with the company employing some 1,200 men. Recently, the entire downtown area of Leslie was designated as a commercial historic district.
And that helps us out in a lot of ways, especially with bringing more customers off of Highway 65, such a busy route to Branson, Missouri and the Buffalo National River. And we really want them to come over here and see what I think is a throwback town, a little slice of Americana that is kind of lost in a lot of America. And we want people to come to Leslie and visit with the very friendly people and take advantage of our good restaurants, our shops. The antiques are wonderful, and who can beat Serenity Farm bread?
We have multi-grain sourdough ID ovens. We have focaccia bread.
Ooh, yummy.
Serenity Farm Bread is a one-of-a-kind establishment in these parts. Here, bread is baked the old-fashioned way in a wood-fired brick oven, which has been a well-proven method for quite some time.
Well, probably at least 6,000 years, 4,000 BC, Egypt, the beginning of first the oven, and then probably the accidental discovery of sourdough bread and how it's made. So whole wheat sourdough dates back about 4,000 BC, the staff of life.
It doesn't take long to realize, as the banners point out, that Leslie really is one of Arkansas's best-kept secrets. There's the Ozark Heritage Arts Center and Museum with a 400-seat theater. It was originally constructed as a community hall in 1938 by the Works Progress Administration, or WPA. Later, it was used as a gymnasium by the Leslie School District. In 1992, it was remodeled into the present facility with an added museum. Performances are held in the theater every second Saturday of the month. Leslie even has its own radio station, KCGS 960 on your AM dial. But the other story about Leslie is its mayor, Talitha Hardin.
Born and raised here, and for the most part know everyone here. If there's someone new that I don't recognize per se, it's usually a second or a third generation of a family that I am familiar of or with, and that's the good thing. I lived in Conway for 11 years, had my two children, and thought, I want to go back. So I came back in time to a place that was good.
Well,
and I love it, and it's just like I said before, we're very tight knit, and we promote each other and we help each other. And yeah, granted, sometimes the modern day traffic will cause us awesome stories to tell and to share, but for the most part, it's really good.
So little did you know when you were a little girl here that you would be mayor?
Had no clue. In 1982, my grandfather was mayor, and of course I would go to City Hall and sit and listen to him and talk and just hear the stories. In civics class, my high school teacher, Mr. Roten, he always, when it came to the section to get local laws and stuff, he always made me go and get the books. And it was just really strange to read back in time some of the laws that are actually still on the record right now. They've not been removed or updated, and they still are along the lines of riding your horse down Main Street and things like that. It's really interesting, but I love that. So, but no, when I was a younger child, riding bicycles and playing in ditches, it never occurred to me that I would be able to do what I'm doing now, but I wouldn't change it. So, no regrets.
If you do come to Leslie, you gotta stop at the Cove Creek Emporium and let them fix you up one of their tasty lattes. All right, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good way to top off our visit.
All right. I'm glad you came to Leslie. You have a good day.
Very good, thank you, very good. Excellent. What would you do if someone gave you $4,000 for grilling the best steak around? Well, that's exactly what the grand prize is here at the World Championship Steak Cook-Off in Magnolia. Here, they like it hot.
Anywhere from $675 to $700.
For that steak sizzle. I wish this was smell-o-vision so you could experience all of this to the utmost. The aroma of 3,000 plus steaks grilling. The choice cut of steak here is ribeye. Why ribeye? Why not T-bone or sirloin or a mixture?
Ribeye all started several years ago, 28 years ago, with OA Buddy Franks, who started this festival, and he thinks the ribeye is the best piece of meat. I tend to agree.
Me too. So what's the judging criteria?
What the judges are looking for today is 5 categories: appearance, doneness, tenderness, taste, and overall impression. And at the World Championship, we're looking for all of our steaks to be cooked medium, which is a nice warm pink center.
Can't wait to try one.
Oh, they're going to be delicious. We have 83 cookers here today from 8 different states all over the United States, cooking over 3,000 ribeyes. I promise you, you'll find one you'll like today.
And that we did. And after watching me sampling some steak, videographer Bill Bullock also had to get in on the action.
Have that piece? Have that piece? No? I can't have that piece.
And he couldn't stop.
They stuck together. I can't help it, right?
With the contestants, it's mostly a family affair.
Dad used to work down here, and several of the guys he worked with just talked him into coming down cooking. So the first couple of years it was just me and my dad, and then we turned it into a Father's Day deal where all the family comes, get together and come down and cook. We've never won, never placed, but it's always a good family fun time, you know, so just a good day to spend with family.
Someone from my family's cooked in it every year. My brother is here, he's cooking with me. His name's Johnny George, and my son, Jonathan George, he's the head cook. So, and we just kind of do it as a family thing. We come up here and we serve appetizers to the public, and you know, we just enjoy doing it. It's a great festival.
So 2001, we won the Governor's Cup. So, and we took the money home. Of course, our dad thought that he needed it because he built the grill. So we did end up giving it to him. But we've been cooking ever since the Blossom Festival started because we're both firemen. I'm the fire chief here, and we used to cook with the fire department team back then. So, so we finally grew into our own team, which our dad, we've had a plumbing business all our life. So you can see our grill here. It's made into a train, but everything here is scrap metal. So it was all, the tank is an old water heater, and the windows are old furnaces that you'd have in your house. So everything here is scrap metal. He never threw anything away. I hope he don't see this. I shouldn't be telling it, but he never threw anything away. So now you see why.
What makes a great steak?
First thing you got to have is a good piece of meat. You know, if the meat is not quality, then the steak, no matter what you do to it, it's not going to be any good.
It's all in how you rub it. You know, you kind of rub it clockwise or you rub it counterclockwise. It's all in the touch, and we've got the touch. It's the Williams family touch. We always grill a good steak.
You know, you don't need a whole lot of seasoning on it, but you got to have a little bit of seasoning on it, you know, to give it a little bit of extra flavor.
A good steak is going to have good grill marks. It's going to be medium cooked and the right amount of seasoning. You don't want to overpower it with seasoning. You want to be able to taste the meat.
one thing is it needs to look like a steak, so you know it needs to do that. The other thing, it needs to be tender, and then of course it has to taste good. So that's what it takes to be a good steak.
So if you're a steak lover, attending the World Championship Steak Cook-Off in Magnolia in May is a must.
I grew up in North Louisiana, born and raised there. I've heard about this thing forever. Never just did come up here. Coming back on the way home to Cabot, and will not be my last one. I'll be back. This place is wonderful. The food is outstanding.
Just a few miles north of Mountain Home is the Pigeon Creek National Recreation Trail System. It comprises about 20 miles worth of trails for hiking and mountain biking. And the best part about it is you get some pretty nice views of Norfork Lake. The Pigeon Creek National Recreation Trail is considered to be one of the premier trail systems in the Ozarks for mountain biking and hiking. Now the trail offshoots have their names. Yabba Dabba Doo for this one, and Big Jim going up that way. Yabba Dabba Doo may be a little bit more than what I can handle, so I'm going to go the Big Jim way. James Big Jim Hosted was president of the Twin Lakes Bicycle Club in Mountain Home, which developed and maintained this trail system. A former state senator, Big Jim passed away in 2013. These cairns, or mounds of stones along the trail, serve as a memorial. The Pigeon Creek Trail System, of course, varies in length and difficulty so as to ensure a rewarding and challenging experience for mountain bikers and hikers of all skill levels. If you come out here in the spring, you have the cooler temperatures to enjoy and a broad expanse of dogwood trees that are in full bloom. Actually, from early April through October, several species of wildflowers bloom along the trails. And if you're out here in the heat of the summer, Norfork Lake is the perfect place for a refreshing dip after a strenuous ride or hike, or go fishing for that matter. So Tony, what in particular you like about this trail? What do you enjoy about it?
Well, a lot of things. One is it's right in town. It's very convenient. I can run over here in 10 minutes and be on the trail, spend a couple hours, get a good bit of exercise and venture in, and be home in time to keep everybody at home happy.
And the way the trail was made, of course, it's not machine made. You said you really like that.
Yeah, I like it. This is a naturalistic trail. It's mostly hand dug. A lot of natural features, ledges, rocks, things like that left in the trail. It allows you to think a little more when you're riding versus just going fast, which is a lot of fun. As I mentioned, this trail is near town, and something that has become more common recently is a lot of trail systems are built near towns are built by machine, and they're wider and smoother and safer, but not as interesting. And I like the fact that this one is technically challenging.
Has personality.
It definitely has personality. I'm very grateful that things like this are around. It makes my life much more fulfilling.
Get out and make your life much more fulfilling as well. So if you're a mountain biking enthusiast, check out the Pigeon Creek National Recreation Trail along the shores of beautiful Norfork Lake. And to view this episode again or any one of our others, visit our website at aetn.org/exploringarkansas. And don't forget to like us on our Facebook fan page. And we'll see you again the next time for another exciting adventure on Exploring Arkansas.